Live from the parking lot of Denny's, where they have a half-price birthday special for the birthday girl this week, Miss Amy Linden. It's I'm gonna let you finish show number 142. Hello, birthday girl.
Hello, and that just happens to be my age by half. Ish. Kind of.
No, you're not.
Not 142.
Yeah, it's like, no.
I'm trying to do the math. 71. No, I'm not 71. Because if I were 71, I could have Medicare. Thank you. I had a lovely time. And met with some fabulous. I have really good friends. We're really lucky, both of us. Yeah. We have good friends because they got the memo about bringing a cake, Venero's cheesecake, baby, with a raspberry mousse top. Delish. Nice. But I will tell you that we'll get, because we have a lot of stuff to talk about, but I got off the train at Astor Place. Okay. I know New York has changed. I'm not going to do that boring New York has changed. But first off, the cube is gone. So I was completely confused.
Well, because it's being repaired.
Fixing it. Yeah. I know. But I got off at Astor Place. I'm not down on the Lower East Side very much. And I was like, okay, there is not one building here that was here. Except for the Public, whatever that building the Public is. I had I
don't go downtown. I don't go downtown that much anymore. And when I am down to certain parts, and I was in the East Village recently, right? And it just looks so different.
Nothing.
The whole village looks like NYU now, right? They've taken over.
Oh, everything. Yeah, no, so it's everything.
It's very like these stores that are geared toward college kids. Like there's still a freestanding Haagen-Dazs. Like, when was the last time you seen a freestanding? It's all very like these yoga shops, shallot shops, or these weird bars that were never there to have like wings night and dark.
It's very weird.
A college town. It's
the only time you would ever see that in New York is around on McDougal Street when it was directly. No, it's so I kind of was like, where am I? But it was really fun and it was nice. And there you go. And now I have cake. Anyway, how are you?
Black.
Well, other than that, I mean, expand. Other than that,
Black in America.
Being anything in America is not a really good idea.
I mean,
right now. Anyway, all right. So should we start with MTV? Start with that.
Yeah.
All right. So MTV News, which in its heyday was, the equivalent of CNN, I would say, in terms of the kind of news stories they would cover, the level of reporters. This is where you get Tabitha Soren and Serena Altschul and John
Diego.
Well, that's even late. That's even later. Yeah. And Kurt Loder, of course. Was he MTV News or was he separate?
He was.
Oh, okay.
He was News.
Okay. Well, anyway, they have ceased operations. Now, I'm not saying this to be sarcastic, because I have a huge reverence for MTV News, because I worked at VH1 News and I knew a lot of people at MTV News, and they did amazing stuff. I didn't know it was still operational, but in its day, and there's tons of articles you can read online about it. First off, almost everyone, you included, me included, some of the Joseph Patel, who won the Oscar last year for Summer of Soul, he got started at MTV News. Tons of people got started there. Anyway, so they have ceased operations, and it's sad, only because it's one less. It's just sad when it's always sad when people lose their jobs, and when they lose their jobs in media, it's doubly sad. So 36 years of MTV News, which is pretty amazing.
I worked at MTV for 1 year. I think we've discussed on this show. Everybody knows that I did not enjoy my time at MTV, but I actually worked at MTV News. I was a talent booker there for 1 year, and that was right before I went to Violator. And, it was an interesting experience. I will put... My year there was interesting, to say the least. A couple of things happened during my time that kind of bookended my time working there too. I was on the staff. That was the year of the VMAs where Madonna kissed Britney and Christina. And it was also MTV's second year of producing the halftime show. So I was there during the Janet Jackson incident. So it was very interesting being part. There was a news meeting that used to happen every morning at 8 a.m. And it was just very interesting. So, I was also there. It was the same year that Beyonce's solo album came out, Dangerously in Love. So I was there for that. And I remember booking. I booked her for that interview on the. It was just it was an interesting time. Like, people worked really, really hard. There were amazing writers at MTV News, and people took it seriously. They really did. They absolutely took it seriously. And those music pieces they used to do were great. And then you remember it would be, there was a weekly news program, the Week in Rock? Was it called The Week in Rock?
Yeah, I believe so.
It aired, I believe, every Friday evening. I think it was like at 7:00 or something. Listen, it's the end of an era. I didn't realize they were still operational at all. Had no clue. But to see that shut down, you realize, wow, how much things are changing. It goes along with the way we saw Paper Magazine, shut down, and that's a whole downtown vibe gone. And then we see Vice News, and Vice to me was a current equivalent of maybe like an MTV News, where they, as far as having the young people's eyes of today. So it was interesting to me to watch that not succeed, because they seem to have had a formula that got a lot of young people paying attention to them. So, what does this say about certain news formats? Do you feel like it's being replaced with TikTok and things like that? That's where people are getting the information from?
I mean, I don't think people are getting information, period. I mean, I think that this is a generation. I don't want to lump everybody in a generation. I had issues with Vice in their very beginning because of Gavin McInnes. And Gavin McInnes is the founder of the Proud Boys. And he was one of the three people who founded Vice. So we learned this about Gavin, but it was a little too broski for my taste. That said, when he left, it became a much more viable, and they did some really good stuff. But I think a lot of these places, not MTV, but I think Vice overexpanded. I think they put too much faith in things. Well, they're selling the company, and they filed for bankruptcy.
Right.
So it could theoretically come back.
But we always see whenever they try to do that, something is sold and somebody else
well,
takes
I'm saying
it.
Theoretically, it
because that's the same with paper, right? They fired all of the staff, but after that, they still released their Venus Williams digital cover and that story. So that seems to be trying to run in some capacity, but we all know it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
I'm sorry about Vice. People had jobs there. I heard it was not a great place to work.
But a lot of things we're hearing about a great place to work.
For
Still,
women,
you don't want people to not have a gig.
That's what I said. I don't want people not to have a gig, but there will be, but yes, people are not interested in knowing anything, to be honest with you. I think people are very happy being ignorant. So anyway, but MTV, like I said, I worked at VH1 in the 90s, and I would have killed to be able to do what MTV News did. I would have killed to be able to, because we were not allowed to do that at VH1 at that time. We weren't allowed to even mention certain artists. Unfortunately, it was a different time. But yeah, RIP to MTV News and great writing staff. Michael Shore had great writers. Dave Cerulnik, great writers.
You look at some of the names today of people doing really interesting work in certain fields, and you see that they came out of that MTV.
Yeah.
That MTV moment.
All right. So the WGA, Writers Guild of America, is still on strike. And that's, we differ in opinion about this, but I think we differ in opinion. From everything I've heard, which is one person meeting one person, Netflix is the organization that's making this not happen. Netflix is basically is the Kevin McCarthy of the negotiations. But something that had been coming up, because the Tony Awards are coming, and the Tony Awards depend on that live broadcast, because that's how they get to show people in middle America, look at this show. You should come to New York and spend money on a show. And they were being, the writers were not going to cross a picket line, or the Tonys were not going to hire scabs. They have come to an agreement. The Tonys will go on, and it'll be in a different form. There won't be host chatter, which is actually a great thing, because and the Broadway community, which is very unionized, which it should be, will be able to showcase their productions, because a lot of shows are often saved by the exposure at the
Listen, we are
Tonys.
seeing shows that are dancing is closing because it's struggling to fill seats, and it did not get any Tony nominations. Shows sometimes not getting those nominations and getting that exposure closed because they need it. And two, I'm glad they're letting this go on, because really the people on Broadway, yes, there are a lot of unions there, but when we talk about acting and in scope, these are the lowest paid people who really do love this work. And ultimately, I just believe that the Tonys should absolutely be able to go on, because the theater kids don't get any residuals. You know what I mean? I understand what you guys are fighting for, and we stand with you, and we support you. But like there's no residuals for people on Broadway. There's no. You do a show, you get paid to do that show. There's no holdover. You know what I mean? There's no extra check coming to you for that moment.
Which is why I wholeheartedly support the WGA, because of the fact that if you screw over one union, you can screw over every union. So yes, the writers are looking for residuals, but the thing is, any union that is stronger benefits another union. So yes, we know that not everybody on Broadway is Lin-Manuel Miranda. We know that there are, the gypsies and people do stuff, and I'm glad that they are in solidarity with each other. This is the only, so I'm glad that they have reached an agreement, that each side is helping out the other side, and now they can focus on who the enemy is.
Yes, but I need everybody to get to the table, because again, I have a friend who's working on a production that got shut down today. People can't afford, you know what I mean? Yes, I understand what the writers are fighting about, but I heard one writer say, well, this is a war, and there's always, casualties of war. And I'm like, yes, but the casualties of war that you're speaking about are the crew members. And they shouldn't be the casualty of this war. So there's a responsibility for everyone. If you guys then get mediators, if we can't get this, because I've said this to everybody that I've had this conversation with, ultimately, they have to come to a deal. So we've already been out of work. We don't need this to stretch on for months and months and months. Let's get to the part where we get some mediation going, because a deal, ultimately, I don't care if the networks are like, well, we have stuff in stock, we can just do this, we've been planning for this.
It's like, not the networks are holding it up, though.
Yeah,
it's Netflix.
Let me finish.
My writer told me to say that.
Yeah, yes, and it's true. But I know a couple of writers and people who are dealing with this, and the point is, then get to the table. Get to the table. Get to the table. Because writers are also, I've seen, some documents going around saying, like, right, and if you see anybody, like, taking names of anybody who they think might be working, so that they can have a list and make sure not to let those people work. It's like, this is a bad situation, because networks are greedy. And so, yes, we want that handled. But I'm like, the casualties of war can't be the people who come to set, get an hourly rate, and they don't ever get a residual. They can't get residuals for their beautiful lighting and being the DP. You know what I mean? They get paid one time, and that's it. So there's a responsibility on the writer side to realize, yes, we also have all of these people who are under us, who get paid by the hour, and when their job is over, that's it. Their work ends. There is no residual for them. So there has to be a responsibility, because you have the support of all of the unions. So I need you to also realize that, and not have people thinking, we can, listen, you want to strike for a month? I'm here for it. Do you want to strike for 3 months? I think, you have to look at all of the other crew people and be like, this was worth it.
Yeah, well,
Because for you guys, you will get your deal. For the people
we
who
don't
are
know how long it's
hourly,
gonna last. Yeah.
no, but I'm telling you, that's the thing I'm telling you. There's so much chatter going around, and what people are saying, the last one was 100 days, and they're not even talking right now, Amy. They're not even at the table. Right now, the DGA, I believe, is in their negotiations, and then the SAG negotiations started June. They're not even talking to the writers. So if nothing is happening, that's why I'm like, there needs to be a responsibility of coming to the table, because I'm thinking of the Teamsters, the Grips, the light, those people months out of work. There's no residual coming for them. And even when they start working, there's no back residual. What will happen for a lot of these writers who are rightfully so fighting for their money is there could be something retroactive for some of these shows that they have that are streaming right now, right? Like, whatever that deal is. But if I'm an hourly employee, if I'm a PA, I'm a DP, I'm part of the Grips, I'm hair, makeup. There's not, like, I'm just out of work, and then hopefully when it start, my money can come again. But there's no lost income. There's no residual for me to make up. So there is the responsibility of that. No one likes to strike, and behind the scenes, everybody publicly is absolutely, they're all with them. But people are mad. They're not happy that they're not working, and you have to really be careful so that does not turn. You do not lose support of people feeling like, okay, we've been with you guys. We need you to really, you can't, everybody has to come to the table. And the other networks need to fucking step on Netflix neck and be like, we need to get this done, because no one wants to be out of work. And we see the greed, right? So we know that there's greed there. I think watching all of these tech companies do the same thing that they did with music, it's like they're buying all of these studios, and then they're trying to, like, I worked for a tech company, so I see that shit that they're trying to do. It's like you pay a bunch of people that work at the tech company a whole lot of money, but you want everything else cheaper. And then when you're ready to chop people, you just do these mass layoffs, and it's like, oh, well, this didn't work, we're getting rid of all of this, we're consolidating this. It's like, they need to understand that these film and TV unions, you're not just going to be able to roll over people that same way. It's like what Snoop Dogg had a really good point when he was just at a conference. Did you see that clip when he was talking about streaming? And he was like, I need you to explain to me how an artist can have 1 billion streams, but that 1 billion streams doesn't even amount to at least $1 million, right? So, like, there's a lot of money being made, but the greed is coming to one place. So I understand people fighting to be like, you can't do this shit. Like, okay, the Jennifer Lopez movie, evidently, that just debuted on Netflix over the weekend. They're very proudly saying it is #1 in over 80 something countries around the world. But we won't give you numbers, right? So that's a way to basically minimalize what you have to pay people. It's the same thing that you and I have talked about when we look at the streaming situation, where they're always like, well, this many streams that are free, it takes this to make the equivalent of one sale. But then you want to tell me that somebody has a gazillion billion streams, but that's not really equating to money for the artist, but someone's making money. So there is some real issue with, how do we get paid here? Because all of these shows are being put across all these different platforms. You don't want to give anybody numbers. So I understand the fight. I really, really do. But it is time for motherfuckers to open the book. We need to get this popping, because it doesn't need to be a summer of people not working. We're just coming out of a crazy ass 3-year pandemic. The last thing people need is more not working.
Dolly Parton has a new single out.
She does.
It's terrible.
I wouldn't call it terrible.
Okay.
I don't think it's
I
terrible.
would like to call it terrible.
No, what's terrible? Generic and terrible are two different things. Because we talked about this over the weekend, and you
This
said
is
it was generic. You didn't say terrible. Now
it's
today is terrible.
it can be both. Let's put it this way. Let me put it this way. All right, so this is from her very hotly hyped and anticipated, I'm putting this in huge quotes, rock album, which is fine. Dolly Parton is a fantastic singer. I don't think she has the voice, the tone for this particular song. Something can be generic and terrible, but it's just, if it were anyone else but Dolly Parton, would anybody be caring? No, seriously. It's because
Right.
we love her.
Yes, we do.
Because we love her. So we are willing to do anything Dolly Parton is serving up, we are willing to take. It sounds like it was written by AI. I don't hear Dolly Parton in it. That's what I'm saying. If she's going to go that far out of her genre and her lane, and you could argue about whether country music
Yeah,
is
but we
rock
don't
music.
know how Dolly would sound singing rock. So maybe this is her version of how Dolly would sound singing that kind of song.
I was just saying that I just think, look, if it were anybody else, we would just go, it's it's the first single, whatever. I am also very, 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 and she works with collaborators on it, which is great. She has, known singer that she has Kid Rock on this record, to me is just absolutely appalling. And I'm sorry, I love the woman. I think she's a national treasure. She is great. This has got nothing to do with her political stance. Kid Rock is a hateful, homophobe, racist, anti-Semite, misogynist, and he's also completely inconsequential to the culture. You know what I mean? Like, you want to get a white guy on there, or you want to get that he's on the record is appalling to me. And that's actually the thing people are talking about. So hopefully I'm sure the record will be, I feel like her personality will come out more in the other songs, but him being on that just upset me.
You know what I find interesting with it is that, I thought it would have been smart. I thought she would have made more of like a guitar-based record of her playing, because that's what she does.
Like a Bonnie Raitt kind of vibe.
Because to me, that would have made more sense. Listen, the song is not horrible to me, but it's like, if you go into, sometimes you can go into pre-programmed songs off the internet, and you find a pre-programmed rock song. It just has that cadence, that thing. You can tell, okay, here's where it's going to get big. It's like, and this is, she doesn't really do a lot of political songs. So the lyrics are political for her. And I didn't hate it. I'm just like, okay,
it's mediocre.
Yes.
It's Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
It's Dolly Parton. We don't want mediocrity from a woman that is a national treasure. If this were, I don't know, American Idol contestant, whatever, fine, you can make a mediocre song because you're not a legend. So I'm just disappointed. I'm more disappointed about
a lot of legends make mediocre songs. We don't really want to go down
not
there.
When they're not. I'm just more disappointed about the Kid Rock thing. To me, that there's no excuse for that. None. Absolutely no excuse for that.
What if they're friends?
I don't care. I don't care if they're friends. I really don't.
If they're friends,
I don't care.
Listen,
you're asking me what if they're friends?
Yes.
I don't care. I don't care. She has tons of friends. I don't care. It would be one thing if he were the hottest artist in the country. I don't like the guy, but I could understand if she put Morgan Wallen or some guy. But Kid Rock has not sold a record since when? Bush was in office? Seriously. And I mean, why don't you just see if one of the Proud Boys can sing? I mean, I'm sorry. There's no excuse to having Kid Rock on anything. He's a bad person, and he doesn't like me and you. So
I don't care about Kid Rock, but listen, she can do whatever she wants with it. I mean, it's like
I'm expressing.
Mm-hmm,
that's what's disappointing to me. I feel like I love the woman. I think she's great. That's all. That's my issue with it. I don't think you have to, as the kids say, co-sign a bad person because there's nothing but talent in her world, right? Nothing but talent, and she's got to get that hateful little hick up there. Mm-mm. Bad move, Dolly. Sorry.
It was definitely a choice. It was definitely a choice.
Wrong choice. Yeah. I mean, it's a wrong choice. Anyway, Jimmy Allen raped somebody. He's been accused of rape. He's been accused of rape, right? He's been accused.
Of like a former manager, someone who worked on the management team.
Man or woman? Man or woman?
Oh,
why are you laughing?
I know, just because I'm just
come on.
No, because here's the thing: it's country. I think we would have known that even bigger. That story, like the black country guy who's fucking
gay
his male manager, mistake. That would have been leading every newscast.
That would have been, really. Why am I even,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like he's the black who's just having his moment. It's just kind of like,
he's good. Do you remember Carlene? No, he's good. I'm saying as an artist. You remember Carlene Carter? Remember her? Carlene Carter? No. She was married to Nick Lowe. She's June Carter Cash's daughter. But not Rose. Anyway, she used to say that she put
but
the
not Roseanne's. But not Roseanne's sister.
Not related to Roseanne.
Roseanne's mother is the first wife, right?
Right. Roseanne's mother is the first wife.
Is the first woman the black lady? Is she black? Is that the story?
Supposedly. All right. My point is, Carlene Carter used to say, "I put the cunt in country." No, Carlene Carter's good. You would like her. But she.
What do you mean supposedly, though? Like, what is that thing, right? Because there's some mystery around it, right? Well, you know everything. That's why I'm asking you.
I don't concern.
There's like some mystery around the first wife. People say that she's a black woman, but then what is that like? I don't know.
I think Roseanne. I think Roseanne Cash she did that Henry Louis Gates thing, and I think it has been settled that her mother may have been biracial.
Okay.
I think. I don't know for a fact, but anyway. So Jimmy Allen has been accused, but that kind of came and went. That story, right?
It came, and then nobody really talked about it again.
Nobody picked up on it. I mean, maybe because we're in New York. I'm sure in Nashville, it's a hot story. I'm sure. I'm sure in New York, there've been so many other rapists running around. That
there's so much shit happening.
So I have to think that in Nashville, it's a big deal, and maybe in LA, but that market is popular here, but the industry end of that market, and none of us would know who this woman is. Even our friends, like, it's very unlikely that we would know. I'm sure if you talk to friends of yours who are in the Nashville divisions of labels, they're probably like, yikes. They might know, who he is. You want to take Kelly Clarkson? Because I have to be honest, I find this story to be very misogynist. So I will.
Well, here's the crazy thing. I know people who work for Kelly Clarkson, have worked with her for a couple of years, and they love her. They love her. They're like, she's amazing. And I've heard nothing but good things about her and the way she treats people. So hearing this story, evidently they're saying there's some producers that work on her show that have made it a toxic work environment. And I know places can have that, but we're starting to hear this so much. Listen, entertainment jobs are really hard. You know this. I know this. They are pressure filled, and people are not going to hold your hand. And
especially a daily television show.
And the truth of the matter is, there's going to be a lot of times where it's not about niceties. You know what I mean? And I'm starting to wonder if people are thinking that some of these high pressure situations. Listen, yes, there's always asshole bosses. I have had asshole bosses, but I've also had really tough bosses, which made me really good at what I do. You know what I mean? Because it's high pressure situations, and I understood. And then we've all gone and broke bread at the end of the day, and it's been great. You know what I mean? But I'm starting to wonder if not everybody is built for certain high pressure situations, because the truth is, and I think you know this as someone who has worked for network stuff, and done a lot of magazine stuff and been at a network, like sometimes that shit is like, it's not going to be fun and it's not going to be nice. And the meeting, the way you're spoken to sometimes is not great, but I don't take shit personally. And you got to be able to roll through some shit, you know, you really, really do. Now, if we're talking about, you have a place where evidently, I just find it interesting that it's always the women's talk shows.
No, it's always the women's talk
that
shows.
People always want to be like, I was treated so, and it's like,
I mean, I refuse to believe. Okay, well, first off, there is no reason. We all have had terrible, you know, there's a mentality that the more hours you put in, the more abuse you receive, the better you are as a worker. So that's a terrible mentality.
Right.
And that's part of the reason why we're having problems filling jobs in this country, even though there's tons of jobs available, because people don't want to be treated like garbage.
Yeah, and you absolutely should not be treated like
right.
shit.
But there is also, and I don't know how old the people are on these jobs. If they're in their 40s, then there's kind of no excuse. If they're in their 20s, this is a whole generation who's never heard the word no. They really haven't. And they're not it's not across the board, but there is a inability, for whatever reasons, whether it's cultural, environmental, to handle anything that isn't going smoothly. They don't have coping mechanisms. They really don't. And I feel bad because life is just going to get worse once you get out of college. Like, if college is probably the easiest part. But that's it about the misogyny. I refuse to believe that if James Corden was supposedly such a horrible human being, that his workplace was like sunshine and lollipop.
Rainbows.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
come on.
This dude was a known allegedly dick when he was famous first in the UK, and all of a sudden he was here and it was rainbows and fucking lollipops with that motherfucker. That's what I'm
saying. And I've never heard anybody say anything about any male host or show where they said, and that comes down to the women are catty, women are bitchy, nonsense. I mean, I would have, I just have never heard that. So I just always find it very tiresome.
It's always the women's show.
Yeah, it's clickbait. I mean, if people on the show are saying Kelly's the nicest person in Nicetown, she doesn't know anything about it, then the issue, I also
find the timing of the story when it's been announced that the show is moving to New York.
Is it?
Yeah, she's moving to New York in the fall. The timing is really soon. Well, you know what? On that note, we're going to take a quick break and we will be right back.
Pantheon Podcast listeners, Christian Swain here to tell you more about my experience with Raycon earbuds. Our family now has 3 pairs of Raycon earbuds around the house, and my wife just grabbed a pair of the Headphone Pros to replace some headphones from a company that was double the price. And yes, she loves them. Now, if you haven't pulled the trigger on a pair of Raycons, or even if you have, but you're in the market for another pair because they're just that good, well, now is the time to check them out, because they just launched their upgraded model of the best-selling everyday earbuds. With Raycon's upgraded everyday earbuds, now you also get active noise cancellation, ergonomic design, and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at once. New quick charge function, 3 customizable sound styles, plus awareness mode. Available in a variety of vibrant new colors to complement any and all skin tones. I even have a pair of earbuds in a cool green color. I have tried just about every earbud known to humankind, and these Raycons are fantastic. Seriously, if you've been wanting to check out Raycons, there truly is no better time. You're going to ask yourself why you didn't check them out sooner, and Raycon offers a 30-day happiness guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Go to buyraycon.com/Pantheon today to get 20% off your Raycon order, plus free shipping. That's right, you'll get 20% off and free shipping at buyraycon.com/Pantheon. buyraycon.com/Pantheon.
And we're back.
We're back. That was a quick break.
That was a quick break.
Yeah. Okay, I'm the only person who doesn't watch Eurovision. Is there something wrong with me, or?
Well, you're not gay.
It's fun.
And
it's
you're
fun,
not, and
right?
you're not gay, right? So sometimes you got to be, because really, first it's the gayest thing on the planet. It's just
Really?
this thing. And the production. Let me just tell
Wasn't
you.
Johnny Weir hosting it?
Well,
this year?
he was hosting like a
host.
television, like a
him.
watch thing. Let me just tell you something.
I love him so much.
It's like the level of production on everybody. I mean, just everybody had fab. There was video explosions, water, fire, smoke, lighting.
Where was it this year? It was in Liverpool.
It was
right?
in Liverpool because usually the winning country hosts the next year. Ukraine won last year, and for obvious reasons, they could not have it in Ukraine, so they had it in Liverpool. And it was Loreen won for Sweden? Or
Sweden.
And it's her second win. She won with her song Tattoo, which was very dramatic and giving you performance with the
and pro-Ukraine. It was a song about Ukraine.
And she won before for Sweden in 2012 with her song something.
All right, let me ask you a question. And this is not to use a word that's overused, shady. Does she have a career outside of Eurovision?
Okay. Evidently she does.
Okay, good.
Yeah, evidently she and has had one. Like, she had been a recording artist, and when she won in 2012, the song, and I literally had the song and it just went out of my head. She won in 2012, and yeah, she absolutely has.
Okay.
So the UK, who's the host country, did really badly.
Right.
And normally the host country doesn't do that badly. But listen, it was exciting. There was this one, the guy from Finland had the song Cha Cha Cha. It was the best shit on the planet.
I have to watch
it. He had on this green crop toppy thing with puffy sleeves. And the audience...
Johnny Weir must have loved that.
And it was the one that the audience, the entire time, like when they were reading off, each country has 12 votes when they read the votes, and everybody was kind of voting for Sweden. The audience was screaming cha 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 cha.
Who votes on this? Like actual judges?
So each country that performs has a committee that they put together, and they get 12 votes, and those 12 votes have to all go toward the same country. So their committees decide, and then the public can vote.
Okay.
And for the first time ever this year, international people could vote, including in the U.S.
Sucky. Okay. I guess that's why Johnny Weir was involved.
So listen, it was full of plumes.
Oh, good.
Ridiculous songs, drama, and I fucking loved it.
Yeah, I have to say that the scope of people I know on the interwebs who watch it is broad enough. I just wasn't paying attention. So I don't even know what the Adidas is. So Adidas obviously broke ties with Kanye West. And
yes, but what had happened was they had planned all. Oh, sorry, because you said I don't know. So when you saw it, I don't know.
No. But no. Take it. I was
they had a bunch of stock. And here's the thing that I find
in the shoes, not a stock, not a bunch. We don't mean stock like stock.
And all these stock and upcoming shoes and colorways. And listen, I personally think, and I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I personally think, had they not reported, all of the losses and all of the money, and then finishing with the Ivy Park deal and the losses there, they would have just sold off those shoes to the Marshalls and all those things. But
I think you're right. They made too much of a production number out of it.
They didn't destroy them.
No,
they made too much.
Donate them. They didn't donate.
They did, and they didn't just say "fuck it." We have no value for these. We anti-Semitism doesn't. We just gonna sell them all to we do to all the other shit that we send to the TJ Maxx's and the sweetie. They've been sitting in there and they're like, well,
Yeah. Sometimes we don't need transparency.
And a portion of his profits will be going to organizations that support anti-Semitism and things. But we're not
that support anti-Semitism. You don't want to support anti-Semitism.
Right.
That's a bad thing.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Courtney
welcome to our show.
Courtney gets on me every week when I call somebody a rapist and I don't put a legend in it. Courtney did not mean to support anti. He is anti. Let it be known that I'm gonna let you finish. Right. We are anti.
I have just offended
everyone.
Small nations, parts of Brooklyn, and the Bronx.
Right. Yeah. 3% of the population just turned off their radio.
Listen.
No, but I know exactly what you mean.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like if I give you directions, guys, you're going to get there. But if I say it's 2 blocks to the left, it's 3 blocks and 2 lefts, and then maybe a right.
I think one week what we should do is post your emails to me and let people see if they can figure out what the hell you're talking about.
I have shorthand, so I kind of type in shorthand and I speak to Amy. But listen,
I figured it out.
4 years in, you know it now. You know exactly what I'm saying.
It's a foreign language. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You know, Jenny M. Okay, gee, I know what that is. All right. I think about it for a second. I go, yeah, okay, I know what he's talking about. But anyway, I think sometimes transparency can be a bad thing. And I think Adidas opening the books and trying to be like, look what we've done. It's like, well, now we're paying attention, Adidas.
Right. And now you're like, we got those ones that we can charge a premium price for.
So, oops. Yeah. So if you head to TJ Maxx or Marshall's,
you will not see the Yeezys that you were hoping to see.
But you can buy them still bootleg in the Fulton Mall. And may I just say, they are the ugliest shoes.
There's this man who lives around the corner from me, and he has the ones that look like dinosaur feet.
No, they look like dinosaur feet
because they're I guess they're supposed to be like an open clog. And
they're so ugly.
And every time I see him, I'm like, you look like a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
No, they do.
I just don't understand.
Or it looks like a shoe they forgot to fill in the rest of it. I don't get it.
I do not understand.
No, I don't get it. All right, so Janelle Monáe, or as Courtney likes to call her, Macintosh, and I'm like, yeah, right. Janelle Monáe. It's got a J and it's got an M. She's got a single out. It's Janelle Monáe.
Yeah, so I guess listen, I really enjoy her.
She has a new single out and a video where you have to basically ask your mother for permission to see it. It goes on and go, I always love that. Like, how do they know if I'm 18 or not? Right. I mean, like, we can tell by how slow it's taking you to click the link that you're old.
Or it's like, I love that my machine is asking me if I'm a robot. I'm like, so the machine is asking me
I just read it. I actually just read an article.
The machine is asking me to prove that I'm not another machine.
We'll get back to Janelle in a second, but I just read a profile of the guy that invented CAPTCHA.
Uh-huh.
And he's like and he gave it away, and then people hated him because it's like, you've ruined my life with those stupid how many crosswalks do you see? Right. And then he did something. It's like, I don't see any fucking crosswalks. Leave me alone.
And the number is, you have to type at least 3. Once you tap in 3 of something, then you're good. Okay. That's the
good.
secret.
Oh, good.
It's like always 3. Like
it's
if
like
they say
the SATs, you just hit C.
Right. As long as you hit at least 3, if they're like, how many traffic lights? Just hit 3 in there and boom.
All right, good to know. Anyway, Janelle Monáe's single. The single itself is it's okay. It's okay. It's kind of a reggae. The video is very she is obviously okay, let's put it this way. She has people care about who people are sleeping with. I don't really care, but she was saying that she was non-binary, gender fluid. This video is like lesbian a go-go, but that might be for this video. She might have a video. I gotta tell you something, it's pretty raunchy, but I will tell you, for all of the butts and dildos and all sorts of, it's very humorous too, because there's all these like talking vaginas and it's stuff like that. It's remarkably unerotic and sexy.
But I think that's what she was playing with it too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that. Listen to me. I like just being an older homosexual. I'm enjoying seeing the Black artists really step into their queerness and play with it and be in our faces with it, because we've always been here, we've always had some artists who are out, but they've always kind of, especially back when I first started in the music industry, people were in the closet, or if you were just who you are, like a great person, like a great artist like Rasan Patterson, who was on MCA, they spent trying to change him. And then if you go back to when Billy Porter has that album on A&M Records, and it was his R&B records, they wanted him to be straight. Even Sylvester, like on the cover of his first album, he's wearing a suit because they were like, don't try to do this. So to see Black artists stepping into that light and being like, yeah, this is what it is, I'm enjoying that aspect of it. I know people always want to talk about what children see. I'm like, you can't make kids gay, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to be gay because you see somebody being gay. That's just not how it works. And so I'm glad that we're stepping out of the confines that we felt put in and being able to express that. I'm sure there are people who are absolutely going to hate it, and I'm sure there are a lot of people going to love it, but good art should provoke things in people, and not everybody should love it. I think that's the work of good art too. It's to be a good conversation piece.
Well, she's not a mainstream artist, let's be fair. So the fact that it's not like, this is not going to get her banned from anything, because she's never been a mainstream artist. She probably has a bigger film career than she has a music career in terms of people knowing who she is, and this would certainly not impact. I mean, I just think
but she's on a mainstream label, right? So that kind of puts her. Atlantic Records is a huge label,
right. But I just think that, I mean, it was fun. I think people are once again making much ado about nothing.
Yep.
It's so wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And let's be honest, the men.
Even if it wasn't, I'm like, we've seen this in every male rapper's video. For somebody like, you're upset about, why you're upset because a woman is the one doing it? Because I mean, you're never upset when men are like, titties and asses flopping all over the screen. Yeah. So come on.
It's fun. So lead off single, she has an out, and she's also somebody who changes up with every record. Yep. I mean, every record. I mean, that was,
Listen, I like her. Like, go into your sensual phase, honey. We love it.
Yeah, or just play with people's, or just have fun. She looks like she's having a blast. It's very wink, wink, nod, nod. I mean, it's very kind of funny, but it is remarkably unerotic. So maybe that's the point. It's just like, So what is the basis of Pra's lawsuit? Exactly. He was convicted. Yes. He was convicted.
Well, he wants to sue. Who is it? It's Kyrie Irving, Shaquille O'Neal, somebody else.
What?
Yes. No, yeah, he's not suing the government. He's suing those people because he says I don't know. Let me look it up. He says that they called him an federal informant, and he's not a federal informant.
Well, we called him a federal informant.
I mean, this thing. So he is like, he's not happy because he feels. Let's see. Boosie on claims that Pra snitched. Exclusive. Oh, okay. It's 50 Cent, Kyrie Irving, and Rolling Stone for defamation.
All right, I will say this. Yeah. I mean. First off, 50 Cent says everything
about that over social media posts and a news article that alleged that the rapper was an informant for the FBI.
Well, that's sort of what we were saying too, because that was sort of the news out there. So I will give him this. First off, 50 Cent says nonsense about everybody, and listening to 50 Cent is a waste of a waste of everybody's time unless he's doing a record. He was convicted, but if he was not convicted of those charges and that was not brought up in the trial, then he does have, though I don't see, like, I'm not a federal agent, I'm just an embezzler. I mean,
kinda.
Hey, I'm not a federal agent, I'm just stealing people's money for no good, or whatever he was convicted.
To be worried about this? Yeah. You're about to go to prison for so long,
for possibly 20 years.
This is the last thing you need to be worried about.
Yeah, it really is the last thing. Don't call me a rapist. I'm a murderer.
Because he was. I'm sorry. The attorney is also planning to sue.
To sue, that he was defending a federal informant?
Yeah, David Kenner, the attorney who defended
David Kenner. You know David
him?
Kenner.
Well,
he
defended Suge Knight.
He was the death row attorney.
He said he lost clients because of the alleged defamation. The Rolling Stone article resulted in false and defamatory label being made in hundreds of viral local, national, and international media news stories and blog posts that harm the business interests and reputations of Praz and attorney Kenner. It's like, what?
Okay. David Kenner, I'm sure, is a fantastic lawyer, but that would be like Joe Tacopina saying, I can't get clients anymore because I defend sexual abusers and the mob. That's the lane you have decided to go into. You've decided, and everybody deserves a lawyer. Everybody deserves the best justice.
And when
but it's like you've decided to.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you were the death.
But I'm looking
at
who you're the lawyer for. I'm like,
yeah,
I mean, lose any clients.
No, you weren't like doing pro bono work for Planned Parenthood. You were doing Suge Knight and everybody on death row. And come on, it's not like oh my God, the guy who heads up the ACLU can't get a client.
You can't make this shit up. You can't make it up.
Well, that's what they're saying. That's actually what they're saying.
Is fucking make it up.
Well, but that's what they're saying. You can't make it up.
Because here's the thing.
It's funny.
The Fugees thing can't even be a movie. It has to be a 3-part miniseries, and you have to break it into like an overarching story of the group, but each one of the different episodes also focuses in on each of the members of the group, because there's so much story to tell. And this one was the one that none of us saw coming.
A miracle just happened. Just happened.
What?
Strudel has come over to the table.
Oh.
The mystery cat.
But she hasn't jumped up.
No, she never jumps.
I was about to say.
She's not a jumper.
I can't see her. That's the thing.
Well, she jumps up on my bed. Mm-hmm. She just came over to let me pet her. And then moved. I just wanted to let you know that I do. I actually think it should not be a movie or a miniseries. I think it should be a musical, so that the people who allegedly wrote Miseducation can maybe get a check. I think it should be a musical.
Let me just tell you something.
And then the Marley estate can get some money.
Oh my God.
Can you see it? A musical. It'd be great. It would be a great musical. The score on ice.
It would.
It would be amazing as a musical. I'm casting it in my mind. I'm casting it in my mind right now. I'm casting it in my mind right now.
It would be.
Who would play Lauren? Who would play Lauren? Cast.
Keke Palmer.
Oh no, Keke Palmer don't want to go anywhere near this. I just think Chloe and Halle. Both of them. Pre-babies, after babies.
You know what I'm saying? But oh my God, completely. Both of them.
Both of them. And we'd have to see if we could tell which one is which.
Right.
Which one? Oh my God. I think we've hit on our money-making scheme.
But we have to cast Miguel, right, as the long-suffering publicist. Who could play Miguel?
Why would we cast him? We'll just give him a check. He can be a consultant. Why would we do that to our friend? Why would we make him?
We have to cast somebody to play.
Oh yeah, they have to be a part. Yeah, he could be called Roberto because we have to fictionalize this in some way. So
I still feel like an idiot because I was like, Amy, I've been invited. I'm going to the show.
Yeah.
We're going. You were like, that's just not going to happen.
It's never happened.
I was like, yes, it is. You were like,
you will have sex with a woman before that show happens.
I've had sex with a woman before.
Well, you will have it again. Or we will have sex, period. Let's start with that.
Hilarious. And then it didn't happen, and you were like, I told you it wasn't going to happen. Why'd you think it was going to happen?
No, it's not going to happen.
It's too many things.
There's too many things. There's too many moving pieces.
Again, the first plaque I ever received in my professional career is the Fugees, The Score.
And the first McFlurry I ever received was Miguel Veguer buying my silence.
So
proving once again that not only am I a cheap date, but I am an honest journalist because I just took a McFlurry.
You took a McFlurry.
I know. And we still talk about that when I saw him.
That's hilarious.
McFlurry. Oh, sure. Hey, you're not going to write that about what Wyclef said, are you? And I went, well, I don't know. Hey, you want a McFlurry? Yeah.
I love that it wasn't even a full meal. It was just
a McFucking McFlurry.
It was a McFlurry. And then it worked. You took the McFlurry.
I took the McFlurry.
And kept your silence.
Well, I told everybody. I just honestly, it didn't have anything to do with the story.
But you didn't put
I didn't put it in there.
It's a great story to tell.
But all right, I'll tell the story now. The story is...
And on that note, what's next? Are we done?
Oh, the Knicks and John Morant. All right, John Morant is. Can I say this without allegedly in front of it, please?
Yes.
He's an idiot.
Kind of, sort of. It's like, so you're just gonna flush away
your entire
all this
career.
Endorsement money. Like you'll be able to play ball. You're gonna get suspended next season. You're not gonna be dropped. But what does
the whole season? For the whole season?
I don't think. Well, here's the thing. He got suspended 8 games for the first infraction.
Right.
So you can't just say second time. Here's another 8.
Right.
You can't just say.
You got to go more.
8.
You got to go more.
And listen, if this is who you are, cool. I don't have a problem. But why are you always on film? Like, I don't understand.
That's a generation.
Why are you live? Like, you actually have something to lose. The people around you have nothing to lose. And everybody on the internet who's like, yeah, you should let him be. And like, they want everything that you have. Everything.
Now, it happened in Colorado, right? Because the thing, it gets really weird.
No, Colorado was the first time. This is
right, because this is an open carry state. So that's the part that but it's not even the fact, I think, it's not even that the legality of having the gun. It's the fact that you are a public person. You have an audience that has a lot of, why are you doing this? This is not.
I have a lot of friends who are gun owners. They go to the range and they shoot. They don't pull their guns out in their car and flick them up. Well, that's just not what they do with their gun. And that is how accidents happen. And the thing is, you have a shoe deal. You have morality clauses.
The morality
your life is different. Your life is different. It's different now. You signed a deal that's worth $193 million. You're just putting out a signature shoe with Nike. Like, signature shoe is for the top people get the deal for a signature
I'm assuming
shoe.
They're going to drop that shoe.
It's like, so your life is different. Why do you want, like, people in the hood don't want to they want their lives to be different. You get out and you want to still stay the same. And it's like, you made a choice. And here we are again. It's just disappointing because, listen, I have no problem if that's who you are. Why are we seeing it? Why are we seeing it? Yeah. That's what it is to me. It's like, you like to play with guns? Cool. This is America. Like, but why are we seeing it?
Because this is we live in a world where something doesn't exist because it's constantly for the flex, for the clout, for the clicks. It's ridiculous. Not everything needs to be posted. That's why TikTok is so ridiculous. It's all so ridiculous. It's like, why are we constantly? Twitter is, he said another horrible thing, Elon Musk. He said another anti-Semitic horrible thing. It's just ridiculous. It's a generation where it doesn't exist. I actually had a student say to me, and then we'll get to the Knicks. I was talking about I had fallen down when I had my concussion, and he goes, oh, did you? There's some thing, it's like Snapchat where you be here now or something like that, where you can film yourself. And why would I be filming myself as I'm tumbling down a flight of stairs? Right. Number one. And number two, why would I want to share like the stupidest moment of the week with people? So people can see what happened.
Some people it can be like in case you're hurt, because people have been hurt and then somebody can see that you're hurt. You know what I mean? If you have like an emergency group, because you can, if you fall down a flight of stairs and you're incapacitated, you can't get to help.
But if I'm incapacitated, I won't be able to take the phone out of my pocket and click.
Yeah, but someone, if they're part of your group, will see that something has happened. And if you haven't moved or it hasn't cleared, it'll alert somebody that maybe, you know what I mean? So I get certain parts of that.
Yeah, he was just basically couldn't understand
and
why I'm not
you do be just falling over and shit.
No. It was one time and my neighbor was home.
Mm-hmm.
I heard Bosco coming in. That's a dog. And I knew that he was there. And I found out why that's happening. Right. I have a medical diagnosis as to why it's happening. I don't hear so good. All right. The Knicks sadly did not beat the Heat. I, for one, am so I'm just so amazed that they made it this far. Yeah. I think they gave us a great spring. We the whole city was amped. People were walking around fist bumping.
Nobody expected
they did a great job.
Absolutely.
No one expected it. They played like a team. They did really well.
People did not expect the Knicks to get out of the first round. And
not at all.
Now,
not at all.
Julius Randle was terrible in the offseason. He was like in the postseason. And the thing is, we need more than him because Jalen Brunson really put the team on his back.
Oh my God, Jalen Brunson was running the team.
He is a great addition.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Julius Randle kind of is a problem. You know what I mean?
But when he's not, he's not. Right. That's the problem with Julius Randle. When he is on, he is on. Look, you just
can't. And listen, and yeah, listen. And RJ really has to work on his shooting this offseason. The times where he was on, he was great, but his shooting must be better. Listen, I'm proud of our Knicks. No one gave us at the end of the season, at the beginning of the season, when we didn't have Donovan Mitchell, we were a joke. Everybody made fun of us. We were horrible. No one expected us to get to the postseason. So for everybody to act like we're such a failure. It was like you guys acted like we failed because we didn't have Donovan Mitchell and we beat him and got to the second round. Something no one expected.
I think the general vibe, just to say, is that people are amazed that they did and that we are now I don't want to say we because I'm not on the team. That the Knicks are back in their rightful place as a prestige team.
Yes.
And I think that that's what's really important.
The NBA is better when the Knicks are doing well.
We can all armchair. We don't know. My question is, and also you do need to have guys on a team who have played in the postseason. There was nobody on the Knicks who had played in the postseason. Guess what?
And next year,
it'll be different
because they realize the pressure of it. Listen, Jimmy Butler has been in the league for very many years. He has won a championship for a very long time. And you had a bunch of guys on that team, almost like 20, just like a lot of people.
Kevin Love, all those guys.
Some of them who are champions.
Right.
And some who have been there before and they understood what that felt like.
Yeah, it's a different level of play.
Absolutely.
But here's my question. My only question about this, and congratulations to the Knicks, and I think they could. All right, at the last game, the Miami Heat game, there was a woman sitting courtside wearing red patent leather thigh-high stiletto boots. I need to know who comes to a game in Miami with that outfit on.
Everybody in Miami.
Needless to say, she was blonde. I didn't even have to go there.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
you were like, who are you?
Who are you?
And what are you wearing?
And what are you wearing? Are you like a lost Kardashian? Like, what's happening here?
Miami.
Yeah, I guess. Right.
Miami, girl.
Where are there like music? Where's Gloria Estefan and all these people sitting?
It's so funny. Like, you don't really see Glow courtside at the games and things.
No, she's not a basketball fan.
Say what you want. New York and LA have the best court sides. Like our New York and LA definitely.
And I would say ours is even better.
Yeah, we definitely give you moments
because we have local heroes too. Yeah. So we have people that people get amped up about because they're local. Yeah, no, but I was just watching. Once it became apparent, I was just watching, going, I need to see you react and act like you're happy that you're in those seats because that makes me angry when I see people in really good seats and they're just like. I'm like,
and they're glad to be there, but they don't even watch the fucking game. You can tell
they don't care. Yeah, they're talking or they're on their phones. I want you. Say what you will about our New York Laker fans, the famous ones, and New York fans are into the game.
No, Lakers fans are really into the game. Into the fucking game.
They are into the game. You know who's really into the? I didn't see her this time at any games. Is Julianne Moore is always at Knicks games.
Yeah, she's a big Knicks game. Yeah,
I didn't see her and Tom Brokaw. And Spike, of course, but that's like obvious. All right, what are you listening to? Other than the voices inside of your head.
I have still been listening
to Jessie Ware.
Yeah. It's still I've been flipping between Jessie Ware and the Ellie Goulding records.
Did it sell, the Jessie Ware record? Did it have any kind of anything?
In the UK, I watched it debuted at number 3. Then the next week it tumbled to like number 60 something. Yeah,
wow.
It's kind of crazy. And I didn't see what it did here.
Because this is the most press I've ever seen on one of her records.
Yeah, she's gotten a lot of press.
And this is her moment. This is the moment she can do it. You know, I want to like Ellie Goulding. This tone of her voice I feel like she's talking baby talk. But I know she's good. I know she's good.
And this is another dancey pop record it's really enjoyable. Yeah, it is good.
But I've just been listening.
And to Everything But the Girl. That's not left my rotation either. So I've been floating between those 3 albums just over and over and over.
What's coming out? Is there anything coming out this summer, like of note, or no? Not really.
I think Drake said he's supposedly putting out a record.
Okay, I said of note.
Yeah, I haven't heard of anything. Like it just feels it feels
dead.
Yeah, it does feel dead.
It feels like everybody's trying to get their groove back and their bearings back, and then they will wait. And no one's going to compete with tour stuff. They're going to they've done what they've done, and they're going to wait for the fall. I think everybody's distracted this summer.
Kylie Minogue, the single drops on Thursday, and the album drops in September.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The album is going to drop. I think summer is almost like, if you haven't had your summer song already, like the summer song had to have come out by now, the song of the summer type of thing. I think it's like when I used to dye my hair. I wouldn't mess with my hair in the summer because it would get oxidized. So why spend the money? I haven't been listening much, but I just finished reading an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous memoir. I am not the first one to read this book. It just won the Pulitzer Prize. It is called Stay True. I am going to mangle this poor man's name, and I've actually met him. He's a former MTV writer, I think, as well. Huasu, Huahsu. Anyway, fantastic writer. He's a staff writer for The New Yorker. This book, and it just won the Pulitzer for nonfiction. It's really gorgeous. It's about his friendship with. I'm not giving anything away because it says it in the thing about a friend of his who was killed. It's just a great book, and it's about music, and it's about being the kid of an immigrant. So I highly recommend it.
I discovered something.
What?
I mean, it's in the 3rd season, but I discovered it.
What?
There is a show on Showtime called Couples Therapy. Have you heard of this show?
Yeah. I'm just saying, yeah, I don't have Showtime.
Let me just say, it is. Okay, it's on, I'll send you.
No, I know what it is. It's a shrink. It's an actual shrink.
It is. I'm so traumatized and I can't stop watching. It's like, first, I'm just like, wow, people will really go on TV and they will say it. It is just really, it's hardcoreness. It's hardcoreness. But it's compelling. I can't.
No, I've heard it.
It's really compelling. And it's just like to watch the different personality types, recognizing some traits in myself in certain ways, and just being like, wow, it's a lot to unpack. It's really kind of out there. And I'm addicted to it. So I started in season 3. I'm halfway through that. And then I sit to watch it. I'll go back and I'll watch season 1 and season 2.
Is it the same couples each season?
No.
Okay.
I don't think, no. And what I noticed is in season 3, which seems to be the biggest season, it has 18 episodes. The first 9 episodes were the same. We were rotating between the same 4 couples, and then we ended with them. Then we started. It
sounds like a real life version of In Treatment. Remember that show?
Yes, it is. It is very much a real live version of In Treatment.
I mean, because not for nothing, if you're in couples therapy for 3 seasons, 18 shows, I think maybe you need to break up.
Yeah, I think, and I'm not sure, but I think each season is a different therapist and definitely different couples.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Because I have a lot of television to catch up on before I go away. But and I have.
Are you excited?
I am, but I'll talk more about that. I am, but I'm just starting to get into that. What will I bring? What will I wear? And
are you going to Turkey again?
Well, funny you say that. Part of my flight was just canceled, so I have to call Turkish Airlines and go, you can't just cancel my flight. I'm in a foreign country.
Right.
And find out it's not my fault that that the guy didn't beat Aragon. I would have voted for the opposing guy. Not my fault. Don't blame me.
But they're going to have a runoff because Aragon didn't get...
Yeah, well, be careful. Prepare yourself for a lot of bombing and a lot of bad stuff going on. Anyway,
I'm just thinking, at the time where you're kind of going to be there.
No, I'm not going to that part. It'll be settled by then anyway. Right. And as my bless her heart, my mother said, aren't you concerned about going to? And I went, Mom, I have a better chance of getting shot in the United States than any other country in the world.
And then there's that, folks. So you know what the deal is. Thank you for listening on the Pantheon Podcast Network, where you can find us and over 60 amazing shows on every type of music subject that you can possibly think of. You can find our show also, and all you guys who've been listening to us and downloading the show from the Pantheon Podcast main feed, thank you. We appreciate you.
We appreciate that.
And to all of our listeners who are new, thank you. We appreciate you.
We appreciate
and our day ones, you know what it is. We love you. We appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
And remember to tell a friend, leave a rating, pass the show around. You can interact with us on Facebook at ImmaLetYouFinish. You can interact with us on Instagram at ImmaLetYouFinish NY, or on TikTok at ImmaLetYouFinish Podcast, on Twitter for now at Finish Ima.
Yeah, we have to make. We do have to. We're
gonna have to make a decision on this.
Yeah, we have to, because he just said something horrible again.
It's like, it's
yeah.
So skip the Twitter part. Interact with us everywhere else, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's FantasyPoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. FantasyPoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.